Ahmed pops up. He's got both unbuttoned, like going way down.
Oh, it was way down, huh?
Like chest hairish kind of
right.
move.
We're going to make fun of him for that on Monday's
Pretty
podcast.
sure that I saw tufts of chest hair.
I'm sure he would have chest hair. I haven't inspected that yet. Yeah, buddy. What's up, Chris Simms? Chris Simms Unbuttoned. Ahmed Fareed is here, and we will get to the bottom of this. It's a very important subject. Yeah. He does have chest hair. It's slightly popping out today with his unbuttoned button on his shirt there.
I didn't even know we were going to play that.
Oh, well, good. That's the way we intended it. So I got to, here it is. Here's Johnny Cool. So, okay, you just had one button down.
One down.
One. I think Paul thought you might have had two.
It's a shirt that the one button up, like I didn't do the top button, so there are technically two buttons.
Two, but I think he meant three then.
No one does all the buttons all the way to the top. No one does that.
No one counts that one.
Yeah. So it's one of those shirts where if you do one button undone, it looks like you got two.
Whoa!
And then, there's the zoomed in.
So you get a closer look. It is a little hairier than I thought.
Yeah, that's the before.
Yes.
And then I had to shave up there.
You're not that hairy.
There you go. No, I'm not that hairy.
As I look at you now, you may be able to connect the chin hair to the chest hair. You might be able to work that out if you just let it go. I don't know.
I think being half Arab, you kind of get hair growing in different spots.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Patchier beards and whatnot. Yeah, I like the fact that you said.
Oh, we're scouting you at all times.
You go. I don't know if he has chest hair. I haven't scouted that yet. It was a foregone conclusion. Like, of course I'm going to scout
of course
at some
now.
point.
I mean, come on. I mean, of course, you know me. Nobody likes to look at guys' bodies more than me, all right? I got to scout you out, see what you're doing, see if you're getting your squats in, see what your hairy chest looks like.
I can already see the first comment on YouTube right now.
Yeah.
Got uncomfortable, had to skip the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, well, hey, welcome to the Chris Simms Unbuttoned podcast. That's what we do.
That's
we
what
make
we
you
do.
Uncomfortable. All right, so then the rest of your weekend, you got to see the greatest franchise ever invented in the history of sports.
They do have a lot of championships.
They do have a lot, yes.
They're good this year.
They are good this year.
Yeah.
He's at the Yanks game. Got to see that. Got to see Aaron Judge. Yanks win again. I mean, we win almost every game now.
It was crazy. I mean, I'm a Detroit Tigers fan, so they were playing the Tigers.
It was even better. I loved it.
And I was like, wow, the Tigers are actually playing well. They got a lead, and then they got another lead. They came back, and I was like, finally, the one time I see them this year, they're going to win. They're going to beat the team with the best record in baseball. But the Yankees are the best team.
They came back.
They just kept coming back. It was like they knew they were going to do it. It was just a matter of how.
They got something going right now. No doubt about it.
Like, Judge didn't even have a good game. He struck out, got out with the bases loaded, but it didn't matter.
No, it did not.
We're good.
Yeah, all right. So you enjoyed the stadium, though. It was a good day for baseball.
It was awesome.
Right?
CC Sabathia, I got to work with him, meet him for the first time.
Whoa.
He's a little taller than I am.
A little.
And, yeah, he says he's the one on the right, just to be clear here.
He's what, 6'8"?
Oh, man, that's
think
a good
so?
question.
Right around there? I mean, it's somewhere in there.
Maybe not quite that tall.
No? You think it's not?
Let me look it up.
Is it 6'7" and change? I mean, he's lost some weight.
6'6".
Wow, 6'6". Yep. I don't know why. I always thought he was tall, a little bit more tall than I, or at least taller than that.
Definitely lost some weight.
Yep.
Since his playing days.
Yeah, he's cleaned up his life. I mean, he's got a lot of things to be proud of. No doubt.
And he was loving it. He was doing a great job, and he was very complimentary of what we do on this podcast.
Right.
Because he does a podcast with Ryan Rucco, and he swears on that podcast.
Yeah,
He's like, that's just how I've always talked.
Right.
I grew up in Vallejo, California.
Yeah.
He said, this is what I do. And I go, I do a podcast with Chris Simms. And I go, and on that podcast, we curse as well.
You f***ing liar, yeah.
And I gave him a fist bump.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm with you.
Yeah, I'm cool.
with you.
Yeah, we swear too. We gotta tweet something to him then on social media so he knows the truth.
Yeah.
That you've never.
We do.
We do.
You know, as a group.
as a show, we do. But you don't specifically.
We average probably per podcast, maybe, 10 curses per person.
Yeah, you're right. We do. You're right. You're very good. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, one day, maybe we can get CC to donate $1 million of his $700 million he made playing football. Baseball.
Yeah.
And he can
Could've
get you to
played
swear
football.
one day for a charity event.
That's the deal.
That's
All
what
right.
we're going to do.
Next time we'll do it.
We'll hit up CC.
I'll go, you're big on swearing, CC, right?
CC,
He's like,
you're
of course
big,
I am.
right?
Yeah.
Let's get this guy to join the club.
No, it was a good time. It was
good.
a good time. I had a fun time. It was awesome. But back to football talk.
Yeah, back to football.
This is getting serious.
It's getting serious.
We joke around a lot. We talk about chest hair. We do that, right?
Yeah, that's what we do.
But now we're getting into the top 10. In fact, we're going all the way to the top 9 here today. 12 through 9, which is still confusing to me because 12 minus 9 is 3, right?
Right.
But it's 4 quarterbacks.
Right.
Why does math?
Well,
we broke math.
I know. Well, you're counting 12 though, so
I know.
that's the problem. It's like it's one of my pet peeves when I watch media companies talk about players' careers.
Yeah.
Right? They can't ever figure it out. Like, it's always a year off. My dad's career, I'll use him specifically, played from 79 to 93.
Okay.
So people who run these TV shows, they just go, well, 79 to 93, that's 14. That's 14.
Right.
But no, you got to count 79. He actually played in that year. It's not adding on to 79 plus 14. So, yeah, that's one of those things there that,
it's confusing,
it's
though.
Deep thoughts.
It is.
It's
You
deep
have
thoughts.
to think about it.
You do.
And we've got all this new math out there. I know my son's doing some new ways of doing math.
I can't figure it out the new ways. It gets me.
They got to
every
fix
time.
this adding the one more problem. But regardless, we're going 12 through 9. And we'll also do the next 10 in our Super Brawl competition,
More
which
importantly.
coaches and quarterbacks could devastate another coach and
Got
quarterback.
some questions from the homies.
In a barroom fight. Yep, and we got some questions from the homies. So let's get right into it.
All right.
Let's take a look at where we are right now. We've gone 40 to 13. Ended the last one with Deshaun Watson, who is at 13 right now, and I think that probably messed up a lot of people out there because I think they thought he was going to maybe be in your top 10. We had over 1,000 people submit their guesses.
I know.
That one tripped people up, I think.
Well, it's a tough one. Again, I know what his top-end talent is, and I know people are going to sit there and go, other guys are injured or whatever and blah, blah, blah. But this is this is beyond injury. He did not participate in training camp. He did not do anything all year. He did not practice. I know he's getting some practice time in right now, too. He's going to be suspended for a huge amount of time, too. So maybe that, in the back of my mind, affected things a little bit. I know when it's all systems go and he's played some ball and really rolling, there's no doubt he's in the conversation with the guys that we got in the top 5 of this list, which I'm not going to tell you right now. Right. But, yeah, he's in that combo when it's all good. But, again, that's a big if and when that'll get there again. I think people are a little bit underestimating that. As we've discussed, and this is probably the third time in a row I've made this point, but I'll make it one more time. Again, we have quarterbacks that get injured all the time and don't come back and look the same after the injury always. And it takes them a little while, right, to get playing and hitting on all cylinders, let alone a guy that's missed football for a complete year. I don't know if everybody's quite giving the credit or the creditors as far as how hard that is to kind of overcome and think, I'm going to come back and be awesome right away.
And I don't think you factored this in really. Maybe you did a little bit, but the fact that this is for just this year and there's a football player on this list, you don't know how much he's going to play this year.
Well,
so
that's where I know exactly that again, last year not playing certainly is going to knock you down a little bit. The fact that you didn't play, and again, let's just. We got some good f***ing quarterbacks in the league right now. And we had a few guys that were younger and things that continue to go up the list and stuff. So that pushed him down too. So there's a few factors that played into that.
Really good quarterbacks, including number 12 on your list as we continue the Chris Simms top 40 quarterback countdown. That player is
Kyler Murray. That's right. Arizona Cardinals. I'm a little surprised I got him at number 12. I'm not going to lie. It's probably one way I went into the into this exercise thinking, oh yeah, Kyler Murray would be a top 10 quarterback for sure.
He was 7 last year.
He was 7 last year. I know, but we'll get into it. I think the first thing you're going to hit on, Ahmed, or at least we got to say about this guy, this is still one of the most physically gifted quarterbacks in the NFL, hands down. There's my banner statement. If I had to say a headline, there is a lot to like about what he can bring to the table. I mean, come on. First off, he runs like an elite slot receiver in the NFL. Like if you move Kyler Murray to the slot tomorrow for the Arizona Cardinals, you'd go, oh shit, nobody can cover him in the slot. Nobody can. He's so quick. He's so explosive. He can accelerate. So and that's special in itself. And then, hey, the throwing is pretty damn special too. There's no doubt about that. I mean, the throwing, he's gifted. His arm is strong. And I mean, he can make all the throws and then some. And then has a quick release. I mean, again, his life is getting the ball out of his hands, quick screens, three-step drop, boom, 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 all of that. And then does have, a thing that I'm big into, and he needs it because of his size. He does have different ways to throw the football. He can throw the ball sidearm awkwardly and do all those things really at a pretty high level. So that's the things you love about him. I do. So you talk about, again, physical ability, what we talk about in this quarterback list, it's up there at the top of the league as far as pure ability. Decision-making and things of that nature, I don't have a whole lot of issues with his decision-making, how he sees the field. He plays it pretty good.
Seeing the field, when to run, when not to run, when to create more time. You like all that for him.
I like all that. But now we get into some things where I'd go, okay, pocket, it's not good in the pocket. The more you watch, it's good in the pocket against when it's open and it's free and there's no pressure. And now I can, nobody was open and now I'm going to run here. Oh, wait, that guy cut me off. Let me bounce back and now I'll run here. And that's great. It's all good. But what you saw as the season went along a little bit, teams are getting used to some of these quarterbacks, these fast quarterbacks. I mean, again, they're in college, they're in the NFL. These teams are used to it. These NFL teams are being taught how to stop these running quarterbacks, all year long now. It's a thing. It's not just a weekly thing. It's literally almost all year long because almost every team has a quarterback. They go, well, watch out. He can get out of the pocket. We got to stay in our lane. We got to do this. So the one thing that I would say is we get into the negatives of him because there's a lot of positives and we'll bounce back to that. But yes, as you saw, as the season went on and people kept him in the pocket, and I know he had the ankle or injury too, but he still was plenty fast to get out of danger and do all that. Keep him in the pocket. Make him make plays within the pocket is still a question mark for Kyler Murray, for sure. And again, if the pocket's clean and all good, that's great. But as you know, as we know, there's going to come a 3 or 4 game stretch where you're going to play some really good defenses, a la the Rams or the 49ers or some of those teams, and they're going to go, wait, we're fast at defense end, and we kind of know how to play the running quarterbacks, and we're not just going to let you run around, and we're going to be chasing you and all that. And we're going to collapse the pocket, and now you're going to have to stand in there and have people in your face and throw the ball. And you're going to have to take a big hit and know it's coming and still throw the ball. And those are some of the things that certainly are still not up to the top-tier guys in the league. That would be a thing that still needs work. It was better this year. It was. Third downs, we talked about last year during the quarterback rankings. I went, man, third downs, he's not very good because of the pocket thing. He was better at that this year, but I think there's still some meat left on the bone as far as improving in that.
So let's talk about that playoff game because it wasn't great. It wasn't great at the end of the season for the Cardinals. He was hurt a little bit, but it wasn't great for them at all in the playoff game against the Rams. Obviously, a very good defensive team. He was just 19 to 34, 137 yards, no touchdowns, had a couple interceptions, just had 6 rush yards, a career low in passer rating. So it really was a bad game. It was
a bad game
for Kyler Murray.
And I don't want to put it all on him.
So, yeah, how much did that game influence your ranking here?
Well, you saw it. See, that game was just the blow-up spot. That's where I'm mad at myself a little to a degree last year. I was saying some of these things towards the end of the year.
There were signs that something like what happened in the playoff game could happen.
There was signs. Exactly right. You go back to the second Rams game, the Lions game. What else am I missing? The Colts game where he had one run, but that was it. But again, we're talking about some teams that started to figure out to go, wait, we're going to keep him in here. And if he beats us in the pocket all day and all that, then fine, so be it, we lose. But there was a concerted effort there, and that's where I think you saw some slippage a little bit as far as that's concerned. So, yes, there was that, but then it got to the Rams again, and now it's the playoffs, and they threw a few other wrinkles at you, and it's the intensity of the playoffs, and the players rise up to the level, another level of play. And, yeah, that's when – and then added to another element of this is – teams caught on to their offense 100%. That's an issue. Some of the struggles they have down the stretch are not all on Kyler Murray. Everybody catches on to Cliff Kingsbury's offense. So I think you add all those things we're talking about with a good defense like the Rams, who were kind of starting to peak at that time.
Right.
It showed us on national TV a playoff game. We were like, oh, shit, he's small out there. Whoa. And that's, to me, still the biggest worry question about Kyler Murray. Game's wide open. All that's going to be great. But when we get to those 5 or 6 teams like we're talking about where they go, man, they're front four. They can kind of push the pocket and they're not overwhelmed by his athleticism. Can we go to the next level there? And that, I think, is still the big question for Kyler Murray.
So some of these quarterbacks, Baker Mayfield included, hard to evaluate because of an injury. Kyler did have an injury last year. Had an ankle injury.
Right.
Pete notes here, Kyler Murray had the second best odds to win the MVP before he missed those 3 games with an ankle injury.
Sure.
So I think we have the numbers here, Kristen, and I think we got Gabby back there today. There they are. So before and after the ankle injury, before they were 7-1, he was rolling, completing 72% of his passes. Afterwards, the team was 2-5. He completed 64% of his passes. Pass yards per game went down by like 50. So I don't know. Who knows if he was playing injured, hurt, didn't run a whole lot in that playoff game, as we said.
Right.
So I wonder how much that ankle injury affected him in the second half of the year.
I'm sure it did. I'm sure it wasn't perfect, but I can't sit there and say when I watched him back and things and went, oh, man, it's really bothering him. Right. Like, man, he's usually 4.39, but he's running 4.79 right now. No, I was going, no, he's still running. He didn't, maybe not running 4.39, but he's running 4.44 around the edge.
Still
here.
Enough plays where you went, wow.
He still took off against the Colts and ran 70 yards down the middle of the field, and the DB caught him at the 1-inch line. So he still could go. And so that again, did that throw him out of rhythm? Certainly.
Yeah.
But I think what we saw early in the year, again, goes back to kind of what we were just talking about. They're a team that, it's talent and playmaking and they kind of go on momentum. But once you start to get I feel like once teams got a little bit of a feel and how to play them and slow them down, and we're like, oh, wait, if we don't do any stupid mistakes on our side of the ball, let's muck this game up and make it ugly.
Right.
And see if they can grind it out and be as tough with us. I feel like that's when they started to fall apart. Sure. Green Bay kind of showed that in the game that he got hurt in that you're talking about. That would be one game where it started to mean to where I went, ooh, they're kind of keeping him in the pocket there. Rodgers and company didn't make any mistakes. He had a few errant throws where he threw the ball high, made some bad turnovers, and all of a sudden they were in trouble. But he had a hard time running that day, right? They kind of kept him in there. And that started to, I feel like, a little bit of a blueprint right there. And then, of course, yes, he didn't play after that. But, I think they took advantage of some teams early on.
And even if it was a little bit of the injury, that becomes part of the evaluation as well.
Well, it's part of the size combo.
In 2020, he played injured second half of the year.
The shoulder, right, and stuff like that,
exactly.
right?
It was just wasn't quite right with the throwing.
Yep.
And so now 2 years in a row, and so that would become part of the evaluation with Kyler Murray.
I think that you have to talk about it a little bit. It is. And again, it's why we've discussed, I know Florio's discussed this, hey, there's definitely a group of teams in football that would not have Kyler Murray as their starting quarterback because of some of these things we talk about. So yes, and then leadership. Hey, that's another area I'd like to see him take another jump in.
That's an interesting topic.
That's part of this.
Let me read something that J.J. Watt said here.
Go ahead.
When talking about Kyler Murray, who he's gotten to know here, he's a different quarterback, and he knows that. He's not the traditional quarterback that you look at either from a personality and media standpoint or from the way he plays the game. I think he knows that. He's accepted it, and he embraces that. And so that's interesting.
Yeah, I know.
J.J. Watt is acknowledging the fact that Kyler is not your typical quarterback.
No.
He's a leader. He doesn't seek out the spotlight, which might be some players think that is cool, but he can get surly, he can get quiet, and his leadership is atypical for a quarterback. You think he can change. The way J.J. Watt talks is that maybe that's just who he is and he'll never change.
Well, maybe it is who he is. He has to find a way, to me, within who he is to just have a little bit more of an effect on the football team. Like we'll talk about with some guys here today or other guys where, again, he's the man. They're still going to be good. He'll still be good if he continues to approach it the way he wants to. But at some point, just knowing if it continues to be 11-6 and he's going to start being an asshole or something. And infecting the team to go, wait. What's going on here is not acceptable. We got to start fixing things. Whether he has to start yelling at players on the field or yelling at himself on the field, whatever that is, he's got to find that a little bit. Because
a vocal
to me,
leader. He's
a
not
vocal leader, something along those lines, just to, again, you got to have that ability to whatever it is to have a feel for your team. Oh, today we got to step on their throats a little bit. I got to yell at the guys.
That's interesting.
Here's a day where, man, I got to prop us up a little bit. Yeah. But still have an effect. Don't be just, I'm going to be quiet and then I'm going to handle business. I'll handle my business. That's great. That's cool. I understand that. And that's really, yes, should be good. But we're talking about we might want to pay you $48 million a year, and that's the next thing we're expecting here. I thought it was a good start last week with him being at OTAs because he wasn't there the first time around. I think he probably realized that, like, wait, why would I do this to myself? Why wouldn't I want to be there? We get some new guys. Why don't I get better? Show the team that I'm not selfish, which to me is a good, like, hey, I'm not being paid yet. I deserve to be paid. I should be paid, but I'm here working. I think those are little things that certainly can like start going that direction. But again,
I don't want Chris Simms to say to Mike Florio, "Hey, why is he not showing up at ATAs, OTAs?"
OTAs, I know, and then he has to attack me because we didn't talk about that, which we'll get into here in a minute. All right, but yes, I mean, so that's the big thing. But here's the biggest reason I came to it. All right, and I've already hit on it, but just really to, I guess, nail it down. You know, we talked about all the positives, but like. His size, the playing style doesn't always allow for the big downfield plays. And that goes back to a little bit of the pocket thing. You know, I think they're reluctant to call some of those plays at time. As the year went on, you see that, you know, there's a lot of attempts and completions for not a lot of yards in a lot of games. And I think a little bit of that, because you have to play to Kyler Murray. You know, he's not going to stand in there and, oh, wait, the pocket's collapsing. Wait, the post is coming open down the middle. Pat the ball one more time. You're going to get crushed, but it's going to be a touchdown. It's not going to happen. He's going to duck or run or get out of there. He's not going to let you just take the hit, so that gets affected. You know, so there's some of that. The play calling, the natural play itself. Oh, wait, I have a drop back pass. Wait, coach told me to look to the left in the in cut, but if I see the safety be, you know, a little hungry on the in cut, whoa, be alert for the post over the top. Like, not always going to get there because, again, if it's not perfectly clean, he's not going to hang in there and wait for it.
Right.
And to me, that's just the last little negative. And again, I think the other thing to that is certainly Arizona could help him out a little too. With diversity in offense, can their offense help him get better in those areas? I have that question too, but those are my questions about his game. Again, incredible talent, a lot of good things. To me, it's no longer like, is he good? I know he's good. Yeah. We're putting him in the top 10 now because it's like, is he good against the other good? That's where we're at here. We're at the part of the list where it's like, you better be f***ing good when you're playing the other good teams too. You can't just be good against, oh, we're way better and now I'm awesome today. And then that's probably where a lot of nitpicking goes a little long with these guys here.
So I think this might shock a lot of people out there who didn't see your list until right now, that you have Kyler Murray, who you've had in the top 10 before, 7 last year, can do all those things, dynamic playmaker, run, throw, and he is one spot behind who I think might be the most underrated quarterback in the NFL. And clearly you might see it that way as well.
Yeah.
Number 11 on your list.
That's right. Yeah, look at me dance. Woo, can't touch us. No. Derek Carr. And, I mean, you're right. That's my banner statement for Derek Carr is the ultimate field general, okay? And then, I mean, he's the ultimate field general in the NFL right now. To me, I think he's the number one sheriff in the league right now. You know, as far as what he does at the line of scrimmage, play after play after play after play, and he's become a little bit of a jerk, and he'll yell at guys, and, you know, what the hell are you doing? Or you got to protect. Like, he does all of that stuff, you know. And then what I'll throw into it too is just like, you know, to your point, what is the negative? Tell me what is the negative about Derek Carr. That's because people love to talk bad about Derek Carr.
Can't run like Kyler.
Oh, okay,
Can't make the big play downfield. I think that might be the perception.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit because he can make the play down the field, and I would argue he makes the play down the field more than Kyler Murray because of a little bit of what we're talking about here. First off, we're talking about, I say the ultimate field general because I'm talking about the guy that probably has done more at the line of scrimmage than any other quarterback in football over the last 2 years. He's, like I said, we all worried about, him and John Gruden. Is he going to be tough enough for John Gruden? Can he be enough of a jerk and a field general to appeal to Gruden? Yes, he can. Answered that question, and no doubt about it. And then, you know, you talk about smarts and decision-making, really damn good. And then you talk about, again, the physical ability. He's got size, he's mobile, and he has a very good arm with a very quick release. So I think when you look at all of that and then some of the things that I think he got better in this last year, that's why he jumped Kyler Murray. And I'll get into some of those things where, you know, I think he got better. But, Dan, when you come away from it, you really start to look and go, well, there's really not a lot of negatives with this guy at all. It's just like, is he as good as maybe some of the other guys in some of the other areas? Okay, I don't know. No, he's not. Obviously, some of them, yes. But, man, everything else, pinpoint accuracy, could put the ball in the tight windows, can get the ball out of his hands quickly, can change the play at the line of scrimmage, stands in the pocket and plays tough and throws balls down the field for big-time game-changing plays. You know, guys are hurt and falling and arrested and everybody's going to jail. It doesn't matter. Derek Carr still throwing for 70% and moving the ball down the field.
Legally, we need to say not all the Raiders were going to jail. Yeah, we need to say
Thank you for protecting me.
Discover you.
So, I mean, he's the best player on their team. He's really fucking good.
I mean, look at
we
those
all
numbers.
Need to respect it. Yes.
From last year.
Right.
5th best completion percentage, 5th most passing yards, 7th in passing yards per attempt. So they were going downfield.
No marquee receiver.
Exactly.
Not a real good running game.
Waller was hurt for a big part of the year.
Right.
Yeah, running game wasn't as dynamic.
Exactly right. And then here you go. You know, here's some down the field throws.
So if you're listening here, you're seeing the first 7 games, the completion per attempt. This is when they had Ruggs.
Yeah, that's when they had Ruggs and John Gruden. Let's not forget. Gruden's a big part of, hey, let's call this play or I can get this guy open downfield.
So when they had Ruggs, they were going downfield very successfully. And it wasn't like they stopped doing it in the last 10. The yardage wasn't quite
bad.
there.
Yeah.
So, the weapons weren't there. Hunter Renfrow, he's developed him into one of the sure-handed slot receivers out there where I don't think we would have thought that going into the year. But you're right. And, you had him 18 in 2019. You had him 19 in 2020. You had him 14 last year. Now he makes the jump to 11. And this is a guy who's entering year 9. I think that's atypical. I think you probably rarely do that, where you have a guy who, after 6 years in the league, you have him in the 18 range. I think for the most part, usually they stay there.
Yeah,
right? You've seen a lot.
You're right.
But this is, I would venture to say, maybe there are many quarterbacks that you've seen go all the way up to maybe almost in your top 10 this late in their career.
No, you haven't. But I will say, if people go back and listen to some of the things I said when he was 18, and I just said, man, he's got more talent than that. He's better than that. You know, one of my big complaints about him was lack of aggressiveness, trying to be a little too perfect with the football. Where I'd go, would you just and throw the laser in there and stop trying to hit it exactly on the bullseye? Just throw it in there so he can catch and run and it'll be gone. He played and made decisions and made throws with so much more conviction this year. It was literally, I was in like game 4 of all of his throws and I've gone, I think he's made more laser throws in the first 4 games of the year than he did the last 2 years combined. It was like I felt like a proud dad. I was like, maybe he listened to me. Maybe he was like, I'm going to listen to SIMMS, and if it's tight over the middle, I'm just going to throw it as hard as I can and get it in there. And it changed their offense and made them more dangerous. He left less yards on the field. You know, I'm big on that too. You know, I mean, what was there to be had? There are a lot of the years in the years past, I'd go, yes, he got the 40-yard completion, but he threw it like a wimp, and the guy had to stop and catch it and only got 42 yards, where it should have been a slam dunk, 80-yard walk-in touchdown. None of that shit got left on the field this year. That's where I think he went to, the next level. A lot of throws of like, ooh, there's not really anybody open. Damn, he put it in a tight window.
Sure.
You know me, I grade that stuff a little bit more favorably maybe than other people's. And then in the pocket too. That's the other thing. The motherfucker is tough. You know, I'm talking like this because I get a little sick of like people crapping on Derek Carr all the time, honestly.
Even Raider fans.
I know. I know.
Maybe especially Raider fans.
And I get sick of it. And I want to go, he's the best player on your team. Who's better than him on your team? Max Crosby, maybe. Okay, Darren Waller, all right. But he's definitely like on the Mount Rushmore of your football team. And you can win a Super Bowl with this guy. You can do that. And that's where I think I get a little frustrated with it. But like in the pocket, tough, people bearing down on him, boom, doesn't matter. You know, he does have the ability to throw with different arm angles. The other thing you realize too is how much he, gets to the top of the drop. They did not have great pass protection, as you mentioned, or a run game this year. And how many times he kind of runs up in the pocket and he's pump faking and he's like gonna run. Oh, and then he's like, oh wait, there is somebody, and he throws the ball as he's kind of running up and just about to hit the line of scrimmage. I mean, holy shit, there's 4 or 5 of those in every game. So I have a lot of respect for the adjustments the guy made in his career, not only personality-wise, but I think he's made some physical adjustments that have made him better to where, I mean, there's no doubt if Tom Brady retires, he's a top 10 quarterback, but Tom Brady stayed, so he's staying at 11. All right, and that's he can talk to Tom about that.
There's a lot of people that will want to put team success on the quarterback. We do that all the time.
Right.
We do that from time to time.
Sure.
They almost beat the Bengals.
Well, that's
in the
what I mean.
playoffs.
Nobody wants to give him but not him.
Yeah.
Like, well, we want to give the quarterback for all the 6, but for some teams, the Raiders, let's find something else to talk about. Why?
Right.
Carr?
Yeah.
He's kind of a nerd. He's not that cool. So it's
just because you don't swear,
I know,
doesn't mean you're not cool.
Exactly. You're living proof. We know that. He's got great
Maybe there's
touch.
other proof out there.
Got great touch. I mean, how many throws can he make? Blitzed, people in his face, and he tosses a 30-yard crosser that touches the moon and falls right in his receiver's lap. The release, that's the other thing too. The ability to just boom and get the ball. His releases it's up there with the quickest in football. So there's like a lot to like about the guy physically, the mental part of it, the leadership part, effect of the team. He has a real effect on the team. They love him. Devontae Adams came there for one reason. Derek Carr.
Well, that's the thing, too.
There you go.
A lot of people, when you make your list and you have Tom Brady at 35, no, never that low. But when you have him down in the top 10, people say, well, there's more to Tom Brady than just the quarterback. It's who he can recruit there, which is true.
Sure.
But, hey, Derek Carr just recruited Devontae Adams. They knew each other in college. And actually, you read back on some of the stuff. David Carr was talking about this on NFL Network, I think.
Right.
Or maybe it was on the Rich Eisen show on Peacock. About how they've been trying to make this deal happen for 5 years. Because
right?
Devontae Adams fell in love with Derek Carr when he took his recruiting visit back at Fresno State. And so he's just as good. I mean, there's not many players out there that are going to say a bad thing about Derek Carr.
No, there's not. I mean, Khalil Mack was his best friend. He's not as nerdy as everybody thinks he is. That's where
he's very secure in who he is.
Exactly.
Right?
That's the point. He's like you. He owns it. He knows who he is. I don't swear.
Right.
I go home. I'm kind of boring. I think you are, at least. It seems that way.
Yeah.
And yes, but he is who he is. He's very comfortable in that.
Yeah.
He says that. He said it to me early on in his career. And he early in his career, he showed the ability to be this guy. And then he did. He fell off for a few years. I think he got a little, he had some bad coaching. I think he got a little careful playing the position a little. He has found the right mix of being, on the field general, aggressive, push the ball down the field. Oh, wait, this game I got to take care of it and be a little more surgical. He's got it. And like you said, they were there in Cincinnati with not the same time of talent the Bengals had, and he was jamming a ball into the 2-yard line and almost there to win a football game, or at least tie it, or was to win it. It was to win it, right?
You have a better memory than me.
I think
they were close. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know there was a whistle that happened randomly during play, and that threw things off
did
too.
happen.
Made the game weird. So the final thing with Derek Carr, like the big thing going into this year, I guess, is how will the change in coaches affect him? And you know Gruden very well. You know Josh McDaniels very well. One of the things that McDaniels did, the first player he called apparently was Derek Carr. And he said, "You're our guy." And he said that Derek Carr said it was the first time really in a while that the coaching staff has been like, "You're our guy." Because Gruden said, like, he's our guy, he's great. But it was always like, maybe there's something
better. We might draft Kyler Murray. We might draft this guy.
Yeah, there could be something better. We'll keep our eyes out for that.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that to me is part of this. And I wrote this down. I mean, picked on too much. All right. And yes, ex-coach didn't do him any favors there. I don't feel like last season was the first offseason I feel like we went into where it was legitimately the Raiders finally gave up on the cryptic "we might replace Derek Carr" talk, right? Because he played really good in 2020 too. So that they backed off finally. And then, of course, I think it's going to be awesome with McDaniels.
Albert Breer from Sports Illustrated, the one reporting that conversation with McDaniels and Carr, Tripod 2X, said, would you consider McDaniels a big upgrade over Gruden play caller-wise?
I'm not going to say it's a huge upgrade. I do think it's an upgrade.
What's different? What's different about them?
Well, I feel like John is going to wire you more to be like, do things at the line of scrimmage, almost bail him out to a degree. Like, if we're in this formation, I've given you an answer for everything. Just when we're up at the line of scrimmage, figure it out and get to the right play. Like, that's a little more of that.
Yeah.
McDaniels is going to be a little bit like, I got a play for you that works against all the plays they got, except for one. And if they run this one defense, then I need you to check out of it. But if you just listen to me and how I coach this play will work against all the defenses they play this week. And that's where it's a little different. I think it's going to be a little bit more friendly and easy for Derek Carr. He's got to learn some of the offense, and there's definitely, he's probably like, wait, you guys call the formation this? And he's probably like, because it's a totally different language, totally. So, but once he learns that, I think he's going to find that, wait, I can just go to the line of scrimmage and just run the play. I don't have to worry about it. Like, coach told me, okay, it's cover 4. Now I got to read it this way. Oh, it's cover 2. I got to read it a little differently because the coach said, okay, I got it. Where in Gruden had been like, it's cover 4. All right, check to this play. Oh, wait, no, they went to cover 2. Now check to the other cover 2 play. Z bingo, you split, and you're doing all that. He's not going to have to do that as much. So it'll be a little easier on him as far as just the on the field mechanics.
Sure.
Mentally, it's still going to be a lot of thinking and things you got to worry about in the huddle and everything like that. But I do think this is going to be an upgrade and a good thing. And he is exactly what Josh McDaniels wants. I mean, that's to me. I mean, McDaniels has him, Waller and Devontae Adams. It's like his version of Brady, Gronk, and Julian Edelman.
If you want to make a bold prediction,
yeah,
you could predict Derek Carr leads the NFL in passing yards this year.
Ooh.
I saw that out there somewhere. I think it was NFL.com.
I'm not sure if I believe in their receiving core quite yet to go there. And I do think McDaniels will get them back to the run game, which could hurt maybe his passing yard stats. McDaniels isn't going to be cool with not yet in year 1 where he's going to be like, we're going to be like Brady in 2007 and we'll just throw it 48 times a game. I don't think it'll be there yet. He'll try to run a more balanced attack, but I'm excited for what both of those guys, what all of those guys could do there with the Las Vegas Raiders.
PointsBet says that he has the 7th best odds of leading the NFL, which would be a step back from last year when he was 5th. He's tied with Dak and Joe Burrow for odds to lead the league in passing yards. We'll see. So it would be a bold prediction, but maybe that running game will be a little bit better. I think this is so interesting that you have Derek Carr 1 spot ahead of Kyler Murray and 1 spot behind our next guy. We're into the top 10 of the Chris Simms top 40. Number 10.
Number 10, Lamar Jackson, Baltimore Ravens. Hey, I mean, again, I didn't go into this thing thinking he was going to be number 10 either. I didn't. I knew he wasn't going to be top 5 or had a pretty good feel he wouldn't be top 5.
He was 5 in 2020. He was 6 last year.
Yes. And again, not that last year was bad, but it wasn't his best year. There's no doubt about it. Hey, bottom line is this is still the most electrifying quarterback in the NFL. Period.
The most.
I think he's the most electrifying. When you just talk about the running and throwing and everything there, I don't know if there's more of a game-by-game highlight watch than Lamar Jackson. I know some of the guys at the top of the list are the great quarterbacks there. They're pretty fun to watch too. But damn, I mean, come on. You see things with this guy that you don't see with other people, first off. And here's the other thing where I think people miss. We talk about physical ability, decision-making, leadership, pocket presence. Those are my 4 things we're talking about here. First off, the physical ability is off the charts good. And don't just come at me with just his legs. No. His arm that's just the thing. When you go back and watch him too, you just go, holy shit, his arm is amazing. He has an incredible arm strength, and really incredible accuracy. I mean, when he sees it and knows that's where he wants to throw, he hits the target. He does, and does all that. The other thing that's amazing about him, throwing with sexiness or flair, the side arms, the awkward throws, damn, he's up there with the best in football at that. I mean, he's like Rodgers a few years ago or Allen or Mahomes now. I mean, they throw. I mean, it's almost like half the throws are sidearm, because they're moving or in some awkward position, and it's natural to them. They don't even think about it, so they just go, well, I got to get it through there. Boom, let me do that. So that's where I think people don't give him his respect. His arm is strong. He is accurate. The problem this year, why he falls a little bit is he didn't see the field or make decisions as well as he did in years past. There's no doubt about that. And maybe that's because, they had some injuries and they couldn't run the ball. There was a little more on his plate. But I think, the one thing that jumped out to me, and especially as the year went along, is he got greedy. And that's why I think you saw more mistakes. You saw more balls and incompletions and balls hit the ground. And I think it was a little bit because he was trying to make big plays and things happen just a little too much, to where you just go, man, if you just played it by the book a little bit more, listen, Tyler Huntley, that's what he did at the end of the year, and that's why it looked good. He played it by the book a little bit. His talent is not Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
So you just go, wait, Lamar, can you just play it by the book a little bit and then throw a splash of your magic on there?
Yeah.
Damn. you guys will be even better. But
that's hard to do sometimes.
It is
You're
hard
like,
to do when you're that talented.
That's all you need me to do. That's all you need me to do. That's all you need me to do.
I know. But you know what it is. It's all you need me to do. That's all you need me to do. Oh, this is all. Oh, wait, I got to do something.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the NFL. Every third play is you better do something pretty much. So, yes, I think that's the big thing that I took away from the year more than anything last year. He really went through a spell of bad decisions and some errant throws, but I didn't look at the throws and going, oh, he's losing control of the ball. A lot of the errant throws, I just went, well, he's throwing the ball into a tight window, or there's 3 people there, and he's realizing it as he's throwing it, and then he's got to try to throw it in the ground or throw it out of bounds, or he does throw it, the ball bounces in the air. But he was a lesser of a decision maker, a little too forceful, and maybe I don't want to say selfish, but just looking for the big play a little too much this year.
Missed some time with an ankle injury last year. He's been relatively healthy, but
Pretty much,
he takes a beating. Maybe more than any other quarterback in the NFL.
It's amazing.
Josh Allen's up there too.
It's amazing. Yeah, there are guys when you watch the games and you go, damn, he lowered his shoulder 7 times this game. I mean that's where it's really impressive. The other thing too we got to talk about when you talk about the positives of him. I mean, he's up there again with what you talk about, the effect on the team, leadership of the team.
Yeah.
Then he's special. I feel like most of the team will eat out of his hand like a baby bird. I mean, he's the man. He's an urban legend. He's a real legend. He's whatever.
Yep.
So that is real too. The Ravens think they can win every game they walk in the field. One, they're the Ravens, and they think they're the baddest motherfuckers on the planet. But then the other thing is they have Lamar Jackson, and they go, he's going to pull it out. He'll win it for us.
To the point where maybe they haven't surrounded him with enough talent because they
That's
think
going to be a question.
We'll just beef up our offense. They're like the big dudes. They drafted him again this year in the NFL draft.
I know.
It's like they're in love with them, and we got the quarterback. He can make stuff happen. They don't have Hollywood Brown anymore. He's with Kyler now, college teammates. So they have Rashad Bateman, Devin Duvernay, James Prochet?
Yeah, Prochet. Yeah.
And Tylan Wallace.
Prochet's from the Chiefs.
All right.
Yeah. Tylan Wallace is an Oklahoma State guy who's, was a middle round guy. Yes, I mean, listen, this is something they're going to have to deal with. I think they're going to have to be one of those teams that might have to just draft a receiver every year in the draft. Like we talk about good running teams that might have to draft a running back every year.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, again, yeah, they're centered around their run game, and Lamar's going to make plays. And, of course, hey, Lamar, when in trouble, he's going to look to run a lot. He's been able to get out of trouble like that his whole life. Why would he change now? So, yes, the big free agent wide receivers of the world are not going to be beating the door down to go to Baltimore. Definitely not. So, hopefully, I think that's why they're collecting tight ends. And then they got, some young weapon-like receivers that they're going to make that kind of work that way.
Right.
Maybe then worrying about let's always go out and get the $20 million a year receiver in free agency. I think they're going to do it a little bit of a different way, it seems like.
So Prochet did not come over from the Chiefs. He was a 6th-round pick by Baltimore in 2020.
Oh, that's who Prochet.
I know that. I didn't know how to pronounce his name 2 minutes ago, but now I know that.
Yeah, okay, good.
Pete
good.
helped us out with that.
Yeah, good job, Pete. So wait, I want to say one more thing here. I know where you're going to go. I think I know where you're going to go.
You can read my mind now. Say your one more thing.
Well, no, go ahead. Well, you know what? So I said all the stuff with leadership.
Yes.
And why he's the man.
Your leader needs to be there, you think, too.
And that leads me to lead you to say the next part.
Which leads me to take a look at what you said with Mike Florio. This was last week, Pete. This is last week when this all went down. I think we have a clip of you talking about Lamar Jackson missing OTAs.
And I've heard Lamar Jackson say he wants to win Super Bowls. He wants to win a bunch of Super Bowls. I mean, I think there was a time where he was like, I want to be like Brady. He remember him saying that early in his career. Well, Brady wouldn't be missing OTAs in year 4 of his career. That's where I want to say to some of these young quarterbacks. I hear like, I want to be like Brady. I want to have a career like Brady. Well, then do what Brady does. Brady didn't miss an OTA until he had played in 4 Super Bowls and, started to get married and then started to miss a few OTAs. But then things didn't go that great in 2010 and 11 and 12. And you know what he started doing? I'm going to be back at OTAs. I'm going to get a little bit better, and we need this. That's where, just from the football standpoint, I just don't get it. I don't at all.
All right, pretty good rant. I like that rant. And Lamar did not like that rant. Someone posted it on Twitter.
Yeah.
And then he quote tweeted it, so it gave you your comments more publicity.
Thank
you should
you.
like that.
Thank you.
Lamar Jackson said, Lamar wants to be Lamar, Chris. This part of OTAs is voluntary, my guy. Oh, so you are his guy. That's cool to know.
I hope so.
I will be there, just not on your watch. It's probably other quarterbacks not attending voluntary OTAs either, but since it's Lamar, it's a huge deal. Find something else to talk about. Emoji eye roll. Your response to his response to you.
I send him a response on Twitter. You know, first off, I hope he knows I like him. I mean, you know me long enough to me. I'm what? How many times a year am I sitting on here sticking up for Lamar, going, "It's not Lamar's fault," or "Lamar throws the ball plenty good"? Like, I mean, I don't know. He's got to know that. I am the guy that was saying like you should be the top quarterback drafted or one of the top ones. You should be a quarterback. So I hope he understands. I was saying it more from a place of like, I'm rooting for you. And I want you to be there because I think it's the best thing. I know I don't know what's best. I know. I'm a guy, again, I'm just talking head on TV. But I've been around the league for a long time. And I grew up in it. And to me, yes, the best thing he could do for himself, his team, everything, is to be there. There's no doubt. That's just the way I feel about it. Do I respect his decision not to be there? I do. Do I'm not like sitting here going, well, I don't think he's working. I know he works. I know he loves football. But there's just only so many opportunities you get to be with your team. And you got some new guys. Marquise Brown is in there. You got young receivers you just talked about who most people don't even know of, right? So that's where I want to go. That's where it's important. And you're Lamar freaking Jackson. You're the leader of that team. And I'm going to talk about you because you're Lamar freaking Jackson. And you're one of the biggest stars in the sport. So, of course, we're going to talk about you. You know, I didn't like that he said that at the end. I want to be like, well, yeah, but you're the man. And we've talked about every other quarterback who hasn't been at OTAs either. So that's where I tweeted back at him. I don't know if we have the tweet or not, but either way,
it's basically what you just said.
I basically just said that. Yeah. And again, I'm rooting for him. I do, but I do think that he needs to be there. I do.
Right.
And again, I know people are going, well, he can't go until he gets paid and gets a contract. They're trying to give him a contract. He won't talk to it. So that argument doesn't work all the way. You know, if they're trying to give you a contract and you won't talk about it or do it, like they're trying to give you the financial security. And from all due accounts, I don't think they're trying to screw him over. They're trying to pay him right in the market he should be in. So that's where I push back again. Again, it comes from a place of love. I really do mean that. Yeah. I'm a big fan of Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah,
really am.
You'd love him to jump up back into the top 5, be the number 1 quarterback.
No doubt,
you know,
and he has all that ability to do that stuff. It's just again, last year, it was not his best year. He's got incredible talent, we know that. But yes, I thought decision making, being a little too greedy and forcing balls, it cost them. It cost them some games. It cost them some points and some moments of where they can control games because, you know, he just wasn't quite on his game in that department.
Yep. We do have your tweet now.
Yeah, we do.
It was
thanks.
basically what you said here. All good, my man. You be you. I'm reading your words right now. I'm rooting for you. Yes, I would like to see you at OTAs, but you got to do what's best for you. Not singling you out. We have discussed all quarterbacks who have not attended OTAs. You are Lamar freaking Jackson. Of course, we're going to talk about you. Did he like that tweet?
I don't know. I don't think he did.
Pete, did he like that tweet? I think it's a good tweet. He should have liked it.
I'm sick. I'm a little sick of the athlete of like, why are you talking about me? I'm doing great. Wait, why are you talking about me? I'm not doing great. Be quiet. I'm not doing great. Shut up. Don't talk about me. I'm kind of sick of that. I am. Like, I'm kind of sick of the athlete taking that angle. Like,
that's this whole business. It's around because people talk about you. And if you're a
I
star,
know.
people are going to talk about you more, good and bad. And when he says find something else to talk about, clearly he did not listen to our podcast or the beginning of this podcast when we talked about chest hair for the first 5 minutes.
Right.
At that point, maybe he would say again, find something else to talk about.
We're very diverse. We're very last week, here's another one that pissed me off last week. Like Mike Trout, right? With the whole fantasy football, the Tommy Pham slapping Jock Peterson.
Yeah, worst fantasy football
commissioner. Now Mike Trout, it's finally his day to talk and answer some questions. Well, I think you guys are making a big deal about we're a bigger deal. No, we're not. A guy got slapped in the outfield of a baseball game over fantasy football.
Yeah.
Shut up. We're paying attention to it.
Yeah.
Like, stop. It's like it's a new athlete disease right now. Like, only talk to me when it's really good. If it's not, ignore it and just gloss over it.
Which
and
is why
it's driving me crazy.
Jock Peterson did what you want him to do.
He did, exactly
He was
right.
like, all right, you got slapped out there. He very easily could have been like, oh, you guys are making, don't worry about it. It's between two people.
He opened up.
He opened up his phone.
He
He's
did.
like showing
the
the
gifts that he said, I sent him this.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I get it.
Which
but
I appreciate.
It does feel like a personal attack. And Eric Burns said this to me one time, former baseball player. And the idea for journalists always is don't make it personal. You can criticize a guy's play, but don't make it personal. And his argument was, well, to a player, it's all personal. Right? If you're going to criticize my play, you're going to take it personally. And so we get it. Lamar is going to take everything that we say personally, but you said it. You're a superstar. You're going to get that left and right.
Yes.
One more thing to show you here. Would you have moved him up in your ranking if you had seen this video before you made the ranking? So I think this is on the internet here.
I haven't
Kristen,
seen this
if we
video
got
yet.
it. Do we have this one? On his knees, 50 yards through the air, boom.
Yeah. Pete's going Kyler Bowler special. That's what got Kyle Bowler drafted before me. Except he did this and threw it through the goalpost.
Oh, so even longer
he threw
than 50.
60 something, right?
Yeah.
Hey, listen, Lamar's got a gifted arm. We know that. I've talked about it. I don't think this is really anything special. I don't. I mean, I think that every quarterback in the top 10 we have here can throw the ball 50 yards from a knee, right? I mean, I no doubt about it. And Tua's not in the top 10. He hasn't made it there yet. Anybody in the top 10,
maybe that's what we should do next year.
Pretty much argue that.
To be in the top 10 of the Chris Sims quarterback
Got to send us some video evidence.
A video evidence of you on the 50-yard line throwing from your knee.
Yeah, exactly right.
Lamar
exactly.
did it.
But yeah, I would think most could do it. I would think some of the really big arm guys. You get into some of those special guys, I would think for sure we're going 60 plus.
Well,
for sure.
Didn't Herbert do that a couple years ago? Wasn't there a video with Herbert
doing
just
60,
like 60,
I think, 60 plus?
Knee?
I do. I think so. Yeah, that kind of guy, they can throw it as far as they want.
And as you mentioned, with Kyle Bowler, does not necessarily,
doesn't mean anything.
Mean that you will have quarterback success
Definitely
in the
not.
NFL.
No.
Ravens could have a pretty good chance of competing this year. They got a pretty good team, even though the weapons around Lamar might not be great. They figured out a way. Greg Roman's said they're changing some things up, and he too kind of said in his media, he's like, "There's 20% of our playbook that's new. That'd be nice if Lamar was here to help implement it."
Well, I'm glad you brought this up. Yes, because that was another. First off, Harbaugh going, "You'll have to ask Lamar," and Greg Roman going, "Yes, there are things to learn." Those are their ways of going, "Yes, he needs to be here. We'd like to, but we can't really say that because of the NFL CBA."
He'll send a mean tweet to us.
I also think that's why he responded to me. I mean, if you really made me be psychological about it, I'd go, I struck a nerve. He knows I'm right. He doesn't like it, so it pissed him off, and he tweeted back at me. But that would be my psychological review. So he didn't like that I held him to his words and some of the things he said about Brady early on in his career. He needs to get there. I want him to be there. Like I said, not for me, because of him. I want him to be there and be the best he can be because, like you said, the Ravens are still a Super Bowl team and a major player in the AFC.
Lamar's a former MVP back in 2019. Who knows? Maybe he could win it again. Our friends over at PointsBet have the odds for former MVP winners. Who could win it again? Patrick Mahomes, the favorite of these names right there at plus 700. Then you got Tom Brady below him. Aaron Rodgers third and Lamar Jackson fourth at plus 1,800, ahead of Matt Ryan and ahead of Cam Newton at plus 50,000, who made the list. Who does not have a team right now.
That's not going to happen. Sorry, so don't bet your dollar.
$1 you could win $50,000.
It's a waste of a dollar. All right. That's interesting. You got Mahomes and Jackson there as the two young guy MVP repeats, and then Brady, Rodgers, and Ryan, the old man repeats there. So that'll be interesting to see.
What would be the best value there?
I mean, I could see Matt Ryan might be in one where you waste a few dollars on, because that could be a team where we go, well, the Colts are 13-4. Matt Ryan threw for 4,000 yards, and he threw for 34 touchdowns and 6 interceptions this year. To where you'd go, okay, I know he's not the best quarterback in football, but he had the best season this year. Let's make it that. To me, would be the value one.
He'd have the story. I think people would jump on that story.
Exactly right. It lines up that way. Again, it's going to be Brady and Matt Stafford the last 2 years, where people are going to love that, and you're going to have a lot of attention on it.
All right, so if you want to throw $1 on someone, don't do it on Cam. Do it on Matt Ryan right now. You can do that over at PointsBet. Right now, Chris.
I've heard of them. They're kind of a big deal around
Last pod, you said they paid you $7 million.
$7 million, a few more pods, and I'm done and I'm retiring because of PointsBet, all right? If you're in an eligible state, PointsBet has a sign-up offer for Unbuttoned listeners that you can't miss. Download the PointsBet app, use code NBC2K to sign up, and get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. So say you bet $100 on Lamar to win the MVP. If you win, you will get $1,800. But if you lose, you will still get free bets worth $100. Once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet.
And one day you, too, if you read that, could earn $7 million. There's a lot of discussion on our next quarterback, how many millions he was going to earn with a contract extension. That is all done now. He is the quarterback for the present and future of this team. I don't want to give it away. Number 9 in your top 40.
You almost going to read his name.
Might as well.
There he is, my guy right there. Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott. Dallas Cowboys quarterback. Still a phenomenal football player. Again, I think like the one thing that comes to my mind when I talk about Dak Prescott or watch him is just the toughness. I just think about physical, mental toughness. Like, to me, Dak Prescott is towards the top of football in those departments, let alone we know, yes, he's got a lot of ability. I mean, he does. First off, his mobility and his ability to run is a real thing. It's a real part of his game. It wasn't as big last year, I think, because of some of the injuries, but whether it's scrambling or a few quarterback design runs, like wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. He's a son of a bitch to deal with, okay? So that's an issue there, all right? Then you talk about, the pocket part of him. This is, to me, where he is very special. Dak Prescott is up there in the discussion as far as being the best, like, I'm under pressure, the pocket's collapsing quarterbacks in all of football. He's unaffected by it. He can stand there with people hitting him and grabbing him and still make throws down the field because he's such a big, strong human being. It doesn't affect his decision-making when the pocket's closing in. He's not like, oh, gosh, let me find the short throw just to get it out of my hand. He still stands in there and, like, gets oh, wait, he's not going to kill me yet. He's going to kill me in a half a second. Hold on, let me throw it. Oh, I got killed. Hey, but I got a completion to CeeDee Lamb. That, to me, is where he is special. He did not have his best year. There's no doubt about that. It was not. But still, franchise quarterback, difference maker, beautiful deep ball thrower, right? But I will say, did not have his best year throwing.
Right.
I think that's one thing I look at. The ball got away from him a lot, especially down the stretch of the season. A lot of balls thrown high and off the target that way. Has a very over-the-top motion. He does not throw many balls off different arm angles or sidearm or that. That really doesn't exist in his game. So that's not one of his pluses. But, that to me was one thing that I came back from the year to go, well, it wasn't maybe his best year as far as decision-making, but it wasn't bad. I think where he left, a lot of plays and throws on the field a little bit, it was just purely from his throwing. His arm strength is good, but out of these quarterbacks that are in the top 10, it's towards the bottom. In fact, out of the quarterbacks we talked today, I think it's the bottom. I would say Derek Carr's arm is stronger than Dak Prescott's. So for an NFL star quarterback, he's got the least power arm out of the group, in my opinion. But, man, he does a lot of good things on the football field, that's for sure.
The big question last year coming into the year was his ankle injury. How would it respond? How would he play? It held up pretty well. He did have a calf injury, though. And so I think, Pete, we have some numbers before and after the calf injury. And so before they were 5-1, he was averaging 300 yards per game. Afterwards, 263. So you do wonder. I wonder how much that affected him.
I know. I do too. Again, early in the year, I think they kind of feasted on some teams that were finding their way, to a degree. All right. But the injury, it definitely, we were talking about Deshaun Watson early. Yeah, he missed a game, and I think he couldn't practice for 2 weeks. And he came back, and he never really found his mojo again. He did not. And
it was obvious, too. Even Cowboy fans were like, oh, what's wrong with that?
No, it wasn't. Again, you go to the Broncos game and on. And I know there's some good statistical games there down the stretch. But, again, what I would go is he feasted on the poor in some of those good statistical games. Yeah, all right, they had the great day against the Raiders, sure. The Falcons, they completely overmatched them. People were wide open. You could have put almost any quarterback in the league in there, and they would have had good stats that day. They blew up the Washington football team when they were having fights on the sideline and being totally dysfunctional and playing like shit. And then he had huge stats in a meaningless game at the end of the year against the Eagles. You just take away the Washington Eagles game at the end of the year, and you go, you're missing 10 touchdowns and like 1,000 yards against teams that just the game didn't matter. So the stats are a little misleading that way. But to your point, when he came back from the injury, that is the thing I think we saw is missed throws, a lot of misplays and throws on the field, and even to the extent like we talked about where you'd go, yeah, this was complete, but it should have been way bigger than this. But because it was off target, the guy had to slide to the ground or catch it and all of that. And, hey, don't forget here, as good as the year was statistically in that too, think about down the stretch. The offense and defense was having a competition about who scored more touchdowns, and the defense was winning for like a number of weeks. They were not that great on the offensive side of the ball, and he was not throwing the ball all that great himself. They just got a little lucky to play some lesser teams down the stretch that, helped them get in the playoffs and maybe make their offense look a little better than it was.
Yeah, 9 of the Cowboys' 12 wins came against non-playoff teams last year. And if it wasn't for the defense, which was awful in 2020, I mean, who knows? Maybe they're not a playoff team. Maybe they don't win the
Help
division.
them down the stretch, that's for sure.
So here's the question. The NFC East is so weird every year just because it hasn't been good, and teams that have gotten good haven't stayed that way.
Right.
The question that Pete posts here, can Dallas be the first NFC East team since 2004 to repeat as division champs? That's amazing that they haven't had a repeat division champ winner since then.
It's insane. I would say no. That would be my, 2 cents there.
Start with Tampa on NBC. Bengals at Giants, Monday Night Football, and then Washington Commanders, and then at Rams.
I know. So, hey, first 2 are going to be tough. Giants aren't going to be the same football team. I will be there that night at Giants Monday Night Football week 3.
You're going to be there?
I'm going. I've never taken my kids to a Giants game. We're going.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes.
So that's going to be awesome.
I'm pumped for that right
Where
there.
are you going to sit?
I don't know yet. I haven't got the tickets yet.
A suite.
I know a guy that has connections with the Giants.
Yeah.
I should be able to pull it off.
Yeah.
Yes.
Would you want to be in a suite, or do you want to be
no,
somewhere
never,
in seats?
Never. I want to be in the thick of things and yelling, and Pete's going to be there too.
Yeah.
But yes, I want to be in. I was never a suite guy. I want to be in the crowd and feeling the energy of the stadium.
A suite, you feel cool. I've been in it a couple of times.
Yeah, it's cool. It is
just
cool.
for a work thing. You go there while you're covering a game. You get caught in conversations in a suite. You can't lock into the game.
Exactly. Right. Stadium, in the middle of the stadium, you might have a guy every now and then, and it's like, hey, Sims, what do you think about that play? And I go, that's a stupid call.
Yeah.
Whatever. But, yeah, for the most part, you're right. You're not going to get in real serious conversations. You get to feel the energy of the stadium.
Yep.
That's what I want. And, that'll be a good one. Giants, Cowboys, be pretty damn good.
That's interesting. So if you're on the clock, and I've thought of this a couple different ways, too, with your quarterback ranking. We talk about this quarterback is on an average team. I also think about it. This is the way the USFL did it this year, is that their first round was just all quarterbacks. It was just you have to pick a quarterback here.
Right.
So if you really were building a team from scratch in round number 1, the rule was you had to pick a quarterback. What order would these guys go in? And that's basically what you're doing.
What we're doing here. Exactly right. You're right.
And it's interesting to me with the year that Dak had last year, a little concerning at the end of it.
Yeah.
That if he's sitting there and Lamar's sitting there and you're on the clock, you see all those things Lamar can do. You're pulling the trigger for Dak.
I know. It is. It's a tough one there. It's like nitpicky. Even the guy I got in front of Dak, that was a tough decision too. But I came down to one thing a little bit there with, even though Lamar's playmaking ability is great, again, I do think, Dak, yes, the injuries played a little bit into his downfall too. But still, Dak makes, when you watch him, a ton of plays in the pocket. I mean, it's a lot of big throws, like I said, where, again, we might not go, oh, wow, but I might go, damn, most quarterbacks here just wouldn't have hung in there and made that play or that throw. That's where he does separate himself. His toughness and pure man strength and that ability to push the ball down the field in some of those situations. And, again, even though he missed a lot of throws and things and left some yards on the field, for the most part takes care of the ball to a degree too. He's not very careless. So even when he makes bad decisions, you go, that was a bad decision. But he'll he'll put the ball in a spot where it's okay, it didn't get intercepted, even though that wasn't the best decision. There was another guy open. Right? He does that. That's where he's good in that department. But yes, the throwing needs to improve a little bit. And again, I think the health and some of the off-schedule plays that weren't as much this year, I would expect that to be better coming back, just a little healthier than the last 2 years.
And then I'm sitting on the clock at number 10, and I take Lamar, and I tell the media, I can't believe he was still there.
I know.
Can't believe he was on the board
So
at
that's
10.
the one you think that's going to get the
No,
most
I don't know.
play
I don't
there.
know. I don't know. It's just they do different things, right?
Yes.
And I think that's all these quarterbacks have things they do really well, and all these quarterbacks have things that they do that might worry you.
Right.
And so that's just, you got to make a decision, and I don't think you're alone in thinking that Dak Prescott is that guy,
again,
more consistent guy.
They're all in the same offense. I know we got a few Lamar plays, but the team's not orchestrated just around Lamar and his running game.
Yeah.
So that's how we're trying to judge this. Again, so it's a little bit of yes, it's an offense that's got a little of everything, but we're not all in on one thing for one guy.
Right.
With a Shanahan or a McVay calling the plays here. And that's where that's where we're at. And again, yes, I think within that formula we're talking about there.
Yep.
And if you got to plug in Dak or Lamar and that kind of offense, then yes, I'm going to take Dak there.
You'd be a little worried with Lamar, maybe that if you don't have all the other pieces around him, maybe it's not going to work.
Exactly right.
So,
I don't know what exactly might happen
even though Dak has had some pretty good pieces around him.
No doubt about it. No doubt.
We've done it. We've gone from 12 to 9, which might sound like 3 quarterbacks if you're just doing the subtraction, but it is 4 quarterbacks.
It is 4. Did you take your wedding ring off? Did you get divorced in the middle of that last one there?
I fidget with it sometimes, and I went too far right there. So we want to check in on the Perfect 10, the SIMMS Perfect 10 update, because now we have entered into the top 10.
Yes, we have.
And we know that we had 1,144 entries from the homies out there. Pete went through them all, tabulated them. He counted only 84 had the correct group of 10 quarterbacks. So not necessarily in the right order, but the 10 that you have in the top 10, they had in the top 10.
Deshaun Watson screwed it up, I'm sure, for a lot of people.
We'll get to that in a second here. 21 people had Lamar at 10 and Dak at 9. So even if you screwed up everything else, those 21 people listening that had Lamar at 10, Dak at 9, give yourself a hand.
Yes, you should.
Was pretty good.
You deserve a hand, no doubt about it.
Clap it up for yourself.
Clap it up.
But here's the bracket buster, as you mentioned. Addy Field. He goes, love the pod. How many perfect 10s were ruined after your ranking of Watson at 13? Mine being one of them. So thanks for that. And he gives the thumbs up. Pete says 755. 66% had Deshaun in the top 10.
I know. Sorry, Addy Field. I really am. And again, it was a tough one. But, like we discussed earlier, I don't know what to expect. And like I said, I'm not totally against, and maybe the fact that I didn't think he was going to play this year affected me a little bit. It did. But I think, again, what we discussed here, hey, the guys we just talked about today are pretty damn good, all right? And guess what? The ones that we're going to talk about on Wednesday are even better. And, yeah, you don't play a year and no practice and all that. Yes, so sorry. That's why he ended up 13. It just yeah, that was a tough one. I know that was going to screw people over.
But take solace in the fact that he is not the only quarterback that people are scratching their head about.
Yeah.
So you should feel good about that.
Good, thank you.
Let's go to the homies' questions here. And this one's about Tannehill and Cousins. You had Tannehill at 15. You had Kirk Cousins at 16. Daniel Nottingham says, bro, I know you watch a lot of film and we're an NFL quarterback. I have mad respect for that. And I think your list so far is pretty good. Oh, how about that? That's pretty good. You kind of feel a butt. You kind of feel a butt coming on. Here it is. But to have Cousins below Tannehill is ridiculous. 12 more touchdowns, 7 fewer interceptions, and approximately 500 more yards. Eyebrow raised.
Hey, I listen, I get it. I like, we're talking about one spot here, okay? And, Kirk Cousins had an offense that's got more talent in the passing game as far as that's concerned. Again, Ryan Tannehill, I think it was no Derek Henry most of the year. There was A.J. Brown, who was hurt, missed a few games, certainly, and then couldn't practice. And then they had no number 2 receiver. Julio Jones was available a few games the whole year. He did nothing for them. So you got to remember that. And, again, don't always look at stats. Stats don't say it all. Yes, again, I feel like neither offense is incredibly quarterback friendly. I'll say that. But, Tannehill's is less quarterback friendly than Kirk Cousins, for sure. Definitely. And, then you talk about lack of talent and all those things. And again, it's not always about the stats and what's there. I would sit there and argue without question. One of the things that I tried to tell you and separate is when things aren't there or things aren't good, Tannehill is definitely a notch above Kirk Cousins in being able to still make it happen, where Cousins is not going to make it happen at all. So that was really the difference there. And again, don't just get into stats. I don't think if you put Ryan Tannehill in Minnesota, I don't think the stats would have been any different. And in a lot of ways, I'd probably argue they've been a little bit better. That's what I would have argued. But I know that's tough to argue. And both the guys are really good. I like Kirk Cousins a lot.
Yeah, they're in the top 20 for a reason. There's another question from Andre Brown Jr. about Kirk Cousins and Matt Ryan here. He goes, is there a way for a guy like Kirk Cousins or Matt Ryan to climb the board when they lack some of the elite, great physical tools of the top guys? That's a good question.
Yeah,
like, could they ever, what would they have to do? What would Kirk Cousins have to do or Matt Ryan to be in the top 5?
Yeah,
could it happen?
Well, they got to maximize. They got to maximize. They got to play their best. Certainly, yes. Because and play at like a high level all year round. You're right. They're not going to make jaw-dropping plays all the time. And then all of a sudden just throw lasers all over the field when they've been bad for a quarter or whatever else.
Would it almost have to be elite pinpoint accuracy, decision making?
Exactly.
Like
That's
all
what
that stuff would have to be elite.
Exactly. And then for them to also, for me to go back and go, again, I hate to keep beating down this point of just going, for them, they took advantage of a lot of whoa, I don't know if that even should have been completed. It got completed. Or, man, there was a guy open by a hair down the field, and boom, they got every advantage of that as well. And again, I'm not unrealistic to go, oh, well, he missed the 70-yard throw, sidearm throw. Damn, he's not good. No, they can't do that. I understand that. Josh Allen, Mahomes, I'd go, well, why didn't they hit that? Whatever. But I'm not going to downgrade those guys if they can't do that because they're not physically able to do it. But yes, to me, it's more about they'd have to play at an extremely high level and then also be with an aggressive in that. Again, that's where I go with the Kirk Cousins thing. 33-7. But damn, you guys lost some games and stuff because he kind of just sat back and we're not going to lose because of me today. And that, you have to take that into account. You guys in Minnesota, to our man there, Daniel Nottingham, right? You guys lost some games and were in some games because Kirk Cousins left plays and points and yards on the field. And then you got to the fourth quarter and you're like, we're in a nail biting. And I want to be like, well, no, you should have been up by 10. But you weren't because your quarterback, who had 12 more TDs and 7 less interceptions, didn't make the proper plays to put you in a spot to where you go, well, we got the game. It's on ice.
Right.
Sorry, that was a lot there.
No. But that makes sense, and I think
that's a lot to unpack with these things.
It's not like all of your top 8 are physical freaks. Where would you Joe Montana is the quarterback that comes to mind too.
Sure.
It's he wasn't as arm strength wasn't great.
Yes, I
you
think
would have
I've
had
shown
him in your top 5.
Yeah, I think
back in
I'm
the day.
showing the. I know everybody thinks I'm all about arm strength. I get that. But I'm not. I picked Joe Burrow over Herbert to be the top quarterback. His arm isn't as strong as Justin Herbert's. I'm not. I've really tried to constantly adjust my thoughts of the whole position and not just be about playmaking and throwing.
Right.
But what I will say is sometimes that I think a lot of people don't respect that aspect enough is what I start to realize. And, hey, for another guy on our list today that I probably didn't say this, this is where I should have said this to this point. Derek Carr. He'd be a guy where I'd go, he was a passer his whole career. This year he became a thrower. He threw some flames and some fireballs into some tight windows. It wasn't just precision pass and nice rhythm pass and timing pass. There was some, whoa, did you see that throw? And there's some of that there too. I don't know what my point of that is, but I just wanted to make that for Derek Carr.
I'm gonna do one more here because it's an aggressive question.
Okay.
From Jonathan Matzel.
Yeah.
You really think Jalen Hurts is better than Tua? When Saban replaced Hurts with Tua, you're a better talent evaluator than Saban? ? So you had Tua at 29, you had Jalen Hurts at 25, and in doing that, you declared yourself smarter than Nick Saban.
Hey, quarterbacks, I no doubt, Jonathan Matzel, that I believe I'm a better evaluator than Saban. 100% at Jonathan Matzel. 100%. So how about that? You know what else? Man, I'm better than Urban Meyer, too, because he thought Dwayne Haskins was better than Joe Burrow. Come on. Don't play, peanuts to peanuts all the time. First off, Tua has gotten better, I mean, not Tua. Hurts has gotten better. All right, for sure. He's become a better passer. Right? There's some of that aspect. He can stand in the pocket and take hits and do things that maybe Tua can't. And he is a better runner than Tua. So, yes, for right now, I'm going to take him. He's a better leader than Tua right now and has more of an effect on his football team that way. He plays better in the elements than Tua. Okay? He plays bigger in the pocket than Tua. Is his throwing as gifted? No. Tua's slick with doing things and different arm angles and hopping around the pocket. Yeah, he's probably a little bit more of a natural thrower. But it's not by so much that it cancels out the other thing Hurts has advantage of, in my opinion.
Right.
And that's, hey, we'll see. They both have their flaws. They do. Hurts has got to be a little more surgical and accurate, definitely. Tua's got to be a little bit more powerful and stand in the pocket, and we can't look for 75,000 ways to throw the ball 4 yards in the flat. So, yes, because of that, I still think Hurts is better than Tua right now.
Clip that off.
Yep.
Tweet it out to Nick Saban.
Please do.
And then he will respond
And
by
tell
saying,
me,
my
Simms
guy.
buys all the players.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You will say that. Yeah. And he'll say, talk about something else. And eye roll emoji. All right.
Yes.
Thank you to the homies once again for getting Chris riled up. We love that. And we finish today
seriously.
once again with 20 through 11.
Woo!
Sounds like 9. That's actually 10
Woo,
combos of
baby.
the Super Brawl rankings here. So in case you're new to the pod, new to the section of the pod, this is where we take the coach, and the quarterback of every team. We pair them up. We see how they would do, or we try to predict how well they would do in a barroom fight.
Right. I mean, your list has been phenomenal. I'm excited for today's. I still think I'm disappointed by the last one you did. That you had Prescott and McCarthy at 21. I don't know how.
At 21.
I don't know how. I feel like McCarthy could sit on somebody, and then Prescott will take the other quarterback out, and they're going to win. But other than that, I like your list.
Dead last, we had Michael McDaniel and Tua, and you had no complaints with that one. You go, yep, everyone would beat them up.
I mean, are you kidding me?
Someone had to.
Are you
be
a
last.
better evaluator than Nick Saban?
Of fights?
I mean,
Probably
you're
not,
going to
actually.
take Tua over Jalen. No.
Yeah, we haven't
You took
seen
Jalen Hurts.
haven't seen Hurts yet.
Yeah,
right?
you're right. So I guess he's coming.
They could be right here.
So you took Hurts over him. Wow.
All right, so number 20. The team that I think would just barely beat up Mike McCarthy and Prescott would not be able to get sat on is Matt Rule and Sam Darnold, Carolina Panthers. So Rule's 47, got the age advantage there on McCarthy. He was a walk-on linebacker at Penn State, played 4 years under Joe Paterno. I got a lot of respect for a guy who can walk on a program like Penn State, play for that long. I still think he's got some fight in him.
I don't disagree with you there. Would I say that he's above McCarthy and Prescott? Probably not. But do I think these guys could do some damage? I do, definitely. Rule is a tough SOB. There's no doubt about it. Sam is also, first off, a bigger human than people realize.
Big guy.
And has a cinder block for a head.
Yes.
He is a giant head.
Barney Rubble-esque.
It is exactly right. It is. It's a huge head. So I think he could take some shots and deliver them too. So I like that right there. And Sam Darnold's grandfather, his name is Dick Hammer. So I don't know, just makes me think he's got some toughness in there.
Bring the hammer.
Bring the hammer.
Bring the hammer.
Right.
Just ahead of them, number 19. This is going to be controversial.
Oh, it's what?
Bill Belichick, Mac Jones. We're talking New England Patriots. Now I know it. Bill turned 70 in April. I get that. Last year I had them all the way up at 8 with Cam Newton.
What were you? Well, they had Cam. Okay.
They did have Cam, who I think single-handedly could take a lot of coaches and quarterbacks.
Right.
So they do drop down significantly with Mac Jones here. But I don't know. Bill's got some tricks. He's like Mike Zimmer-esque.
You're just going Bill to be sneaky and outthink some people.
Like with his finger, he could
tell
do something.
the ref to look over there while they do something illegal.
Yeah, he was scouting out the bar earlier with a video camera and figured out a way to win. He's going to figure out a way to hang around.
They're gritty and tough. That's for sure. I don't know. The pure power angle or strength angle is a little concerning with this group.
They'd have to use their mind over their strength.
They're definitely going to have to be technique oriented.
If it was a bench press competition, they might be dead last. But as Pete mentions, Mac has a nutritionist. So he's in better
he'll
shape.
toss some people around.
Number 18, and this team was 15 last year, so they have dropped down a little bit. The Los Angeles Rams, even though they won the Super Bowl, Sean McVay, who does work out a lot. I got to give him credit for that.
Does.
Small in stature, though. And Matt Stafford, who, back issues. I think that's the one thing that I do. I am concerned about Matt Stafford, but a solid individual, and Sean McVay works out, even though he's 5'10". I think he could do well.
McVay is like a powerhouse. Yes. So he's like, even though like he's 5'10", he's strong as hell. He's got pecs and arms and legs and butt and everything. So there's real strength there. Stafford, like you talk about the back and all that, but like one thing, like two things jump to my mind with Stafford.
Yeah.
First off, he's going to have an amazing right hook. I mean, he's got an amazing right arm. So that thing's going to hurt. And then Stafford is tough. You say what the you want about Stafford.
That's a good point.
I mean, he can take shots. All he did was get hit for the Detroit Lions for 12 years. You saw it.
Yep.
He was playing with broken back, broken fingers, hurt shoulders, hurt ankles, and he did it this year. So yeah, he's a scrapper for sure.
That's a great point. My worry would be that all those hurt shoulders, hurt back at some point.
Get hurt during one of these fights.
He's in the middle of this barroom fight. He's like, "What am I doing here? Get me out of this thing." Just ahead of them. 17, we've got the Washington Commanders. Ron Rivera, Carson Wentz. Rivera, 6'3". He's 60 years old. Played linebacker back at Cal. 13-year NFL career. Won the Super Bowl with the 85 Bears.
Yes, sir.
And Carson Wentz, I think, is a solid human being.
Definitely. So this is another one where I'd go, maybe you could have put him higher.
Could have.
You know, there's some real size here. I mean, Carson is one of the biggest quarterbacks in football. And Ron, Ron's one of those guys that when he looks at you, you go, ooh, he looks tough and mean. I'm scared of him.
You don't want to fight. At that point, you opt out of fighting.
You're like, oh, he's a little scary that way. So they would be a nice combination for sure. This might be another NFC East team you've disrespected.
All right, so there are some teams and quarterback coach combinations that you think maybe should be lower. And maybe it's this next one, who I have right in the middle of the pack. Would beat up half of the league and lose to the other half of the league. The Houston Texans at number 16. We got Lovie Smith. We got Davis Mills. This replaces David Culley and Deshaun Watson from last year, who were all the way back in 31. So they've moved up as a team here. I mean, Lovie Smith. I mean, he's another guy like Ron Rivera. You look at him and you go, I'd rather not fight.
I'd
rather
agree
not
with that.
fight.
I put him up there for sure. Lovey would definitely be one of those guys that go, I don't know if I want to mess with him. He's 64 and he might beat me up, and that's not going to be cool for my reputation.
And someone else would go, dude, he's got a gray beard. And I was like, yeah. Have you ever seen anyone with a gray beard before like that? I'm fighting him.
Seriously. I mean, that thing is Santa Claus-esque the way it looks on him. I actually love that he's sporting it.
Yeah.
The Davis Mills part, I'm not sure about that.
Concern.
I'm not sure.
You know, such a long exposed neck.
Yes.
Seems like it would open up opportunities.
Exactly. Another guy that's big. He is smart.
Yes.
But, yes, I mean, big neck usually means weak chin. We could fall down.
We've been saying it for years. You know, it's a age-old tale. You know, long neck, weak chin.
Yeah.
Number 15.
I can't believe we're having serious conversations about this.
Number 15. I think these are two guys with short necks.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll help.
Yeah, it will.
The Arizona Cardinals, Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray. Now, Cliff still young, in shape, you'd think. 42 years old, played quarterback at Texas Tech for Mike Leach back in the day. Last year, this team was 19.
Yeah.
And I moved them up because I think there's a little more desperation this year. I think they're a little more,
they're ready to fight.
They're ready to fight.
They've been backed into a corner.
Exactly.
Yes,
so they're going to be a little more aggressive at 15.
It's Cliff's, 6'3", 4. He was, a college quarterback. He just, like you said, he's 42.
Yeah.
Kyler's a freak athlete. They would have to win with athleticism. They would have to win on their conditioning.
Tough to catch.
Yeah, right. We're gonna run you around. No huddle this tag team. Right?
Could you get a shot in on Kyler?
Right,
I don't know.
Exactly
a good clean shot would be
He's
difficult.
gonna wear you out, run around, and then Cliff might come in and try to finish you off with one punch.
Opposite strategy for this next team. Number 14, we have the New York Giants. New head coach, Brian Daboll. You got Daniel Jones, who's a big human being.
Definitely.
Daboll's 47. He played football at the University of Rochester.
Yeah.
And so I got them at 14.
I like that there.
Solid.
Dayball's got a little of the Irish pub fighter look. I mean, definitely.
Yes.
Right.
I think I've seen Brian Daboll in a fight in a bar before. Yeah. It might not have been him, but I think
yes,
I remember that.
He's tough. New York guy, Rochester. He's tough. And then Daniel Jones. I mean, you can say what you want about him as a player, whatever. One thing you can't question is his toughness.
Yeah.
Nobody's been killed more in football the last 3 years than Daniel Jones. And like you said, Daniel Jones would definitely classify as one of the guys in this list where you go, oh my gosh, I did not realize this guy's this big. I mean, it's legit big, and it's not just like there's some muscle to it and everything there. And yeah, he'd be tough to mess around with.
And a smart guy.
Yeah,
went to Duke as well. You don't want to question the toughness of our next quarterback either. Number 13, the Cincinnati Bengals. We got Joe Burrow. We have Zach Taylor. The most controversial team last year in our Super Brawl rankings. They were dead last. They've gone all the way up to 13th. They showed me a lot of things last year.
You are.
They showed me a lot of things. Maybe I've gone from under-ranking them to now over-ranking them in the next year.
Maybe. I'm never going to doubt Joe Burrow.
Right? You can't.
No. It's like he's Jolton Joe over there. Mm-hmm. Slippery Joe. He can do it all.
Figure
scrappy
out a way.
Joe.
You're like, how did that guy just beat me?
Exactly.
Well, I do think last year, right, was it, Pete, that someone shared that tire video of him at Ohio State when he was there? It was like some, mono. I don't know. I forget what they were doing. Yeah, he was doing flipping tires, but he was really aggressive and scared
me. It was a tug of the war. Tug of
war.
With a tire.
Yeah, that's right, with a tire.
Right.
Yeah, and I was like, all right, he's too low.
Yeah, Joe, Joe's strong. He's athletic as hell. He's quick and twitchy, definitely. And Zach's, again, even though you were disrespecting him last year, as a college quarterback that played in Nebraska, he's not a real small guy either. He's a good athlete, and he's young. You got to give that something.
Yes.
I mean, you got to. And Burrow was another guy that would classify as people don't realize how big he is until you see him in person.
We're getting into the big guy portion of the rankings here. And number 12, a couple big guys as well. Number 12 for the Atlanta Falcons, Arthur Smith and Marcus Mariota. Arthur's below 42. He's 39 years old. He was a guard at North Carolina. 6'4", 283
Yep.
is what he was listed then. Did have a foot problem, though, which limited his playing career, so that's a concern. And Marcus Mariota's a big dude, too. I think physical specimen.
He is.
He's 12. The Atlanta Falcons cracked the top 12.
I think this is you got this one right. This is in the right spot. I mean, Arthur's a powerhouse, and he's got he's got some toughness to his attitude, and Mariota is he is big, athletic, quick, explosive. I mean, I'm not mad at this one at all. I think you got them right in the right spot.
So just outside the top 10. We'll do one more, and this one is just outside the top 10. Number 11. Last year they were 26.
Wow.
And last year they had a different coach.
Oh.
Bruce Arians is out.
He was worth 15 spots,
He's worth 15 spots. So Bruce Arians is out. Todd Bowles in this house. There's Todd Bowles in this house. There's Todd Bowles in this house. Certified freak. As a fighter, we think, too. With Tom Brady, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 11, just outside the top 10.
Brady tough. Okay, I mean, he's tough. As tough as ever.
Refused to lose.
I will question his ability to stand in there and take a shot now at this age, okay?
To the face, and Giselle jumps and be like,
exactly.
Hey,
Isn't it enough? Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
Bowles, I mean, he's an ex-NFL safety. I mean, his head's made of concrete, and he probably likes hitting. So he's a scary one for sure.
Scary, yes.
And he's not, he's a big guy. Age has put on a few pounds for him, but it's not like sloppy bad. He's just a big guy. So he's got some power there. I wouldn't want to mess with Todd Bowles for sure.
I would not either. And that's moving him up just outside the top 10.
Brady's going to have to be smart. Brady's going to have to be tactical. He's going to have to move. He's going to have to dance. He's going to have to jab. He's going to have to bob and weave. Because if his hair gets messed up or you mess up the Botox in his right cheek, he might quit.
Yes.
So I don't know.
He might quit. You're right. But he's going to prepare for maybe 3 months before the fight.
Definitely.
He's going to do everything he can to figure out the best way.
And he's going to send text messages to Todd Bowles saying, we will not lose these fights.
Yes.
We will not lose these fights.
And then someone from behind the bar all of a sudden will jump in, like, who's that guy? And be like, Brady recruited him. I was like, I didn't know that was legal.
Everybody wants to play with Brady.
Play with Brady. So the Bucs are just outside the top 10. Next time we're here, next Monday, it'll be 10-1.
And you know what that means?
Will be crowned. What does that mean?
We'll be having The Miz back on.
Oh, are we having The Miz?
We're having The Miz.
Oh, The Miz.
We have to make you lay miserable.
We can have The Miz. Pete's like, as long as I say. He was
he shit all over you
the
last
whole time.
year.
To the point where I was like, you got to have one good thing you say because you kind of, this is almost like you just came on just to crap on me.
I can't wait for him to come out and crap on you again. I really can't. That was one of the highlights of the year last year. No one busts on you like that.
I know.
Because you're like.
I was not used to it.
You're the perfect human. You're such a nice guy that people don't really want to bust on you hard. But he doesn't know you, so he was allowed to do that.
What if I bring it back to him? Like the first time ever you see me just go off on someone.
Oh, what?
And then he doesn't want to
I'll give you 100 cash.
You will?
Yeah.
100 cash if I just bust on him.
You won't do it,
I won't do it.
You won't.
I won't do it. Pete, you want to end with the tug of war at Ohio State? We
got
the joke. We teased it. Here it is.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. It's a tire tug of war. He's on the left. He's going crazy. He's ballistic. He's got one arm on the tire.
But he looks like he's losing.
He
was
losing, but then look at it.
Oh, the other guy went to the ground, and he gritted it out.
The other guy looked like he might have been a tight end or something, too.
Man, seriously, look at that. There's the hair. Damn.
How do you let him get away to LSU after this?
That guy fell down, and that was it. Oh, he was so close, and he just didn't get there.
He was close, and then Burrow refused to lose.
Yep.
Oh.
Man.
All right, so they're 13th. We'll see who's number 1.
I can't wait. Actually...
Hey, Pete, send out a survey, get 1,000 responses, and tabulate it all over the next couple days.
Yeah, no problem. There's Ahmed. Ahmed giving everybody work once again.
Yeah.
He loves to do that.
Exactly.
He loves
this was work for me right here.
Yeah, it was. Good. It's about time. I did just call him Ahmed. I did.
His nickname.
It slipped out of my...
It's his nickname.
It slipped out of my mouth.
His nickname for me.
That's what all the cool kids call him. All right, everybody. There you have it. We got Ahmed's 2022 Super Brawl rankings.
Yep.
We got number 1 through 16. Or no. We got what coming up on where are we at? Top 10?
No. For what? For my
rankings? Your
rankings?
top 10 for
we'll
you
do the
coming
top
up.
10. We'll do the whole top 10 next time.
Okay. And we got number 8 through number 5 coming from me on the Wednesday podcast.
Which is 4 quarterbacks.
Even though it seems like it's 3. But then Ahmed will be back on Monday, and that will be the final 10 of the Brawl, final 5 of the quarterback countdown.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yes, sir. I think that's what it'll be.
Final 4.
Final four, exactly. Yes, confusing myself.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Math is hard.
All right, Paul's back in the chair on Wednesday. He'll be here. Please, I love all the questions. I don't mean to sound snarky when you ask these things.
That's
I'm
when
sorry.
You're at your best.
I know.
Snarky.
I get snarky because I wanted to just make my points the right way.
It's good. We like that.
But I love the questions. I really do. Ahmed, you the man. Thanks again for working a 4-day weekend.
Yep.
Nobody does it like you.
Yep.
All right, homies, be good. Stay safe out there. We'll see you Wednesday. Clap it up.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.